In the last 24 hours, some very surprising intelligence information has been recovered by the IDF forces battling Hamas terrorists in Gaza City neighborhood of Sajaiya. Hamas appears to be running low on manpower and has begun increasing the payments to terrorists as well as trying to recruit new members. Meanwhile, Hezbollah launched another terror attack on IDF troops stationed along the northern border, wounding 18 of them in a drone strike, as Iran reportedly added sophisticated air defense and anti-tank weapons to the weapons arsenal that they supply Hezbollah. Elsewhere, in Judea and Samaria, a security sweep led to the elimination of a terrorist who was responsible for last week's shooting attacks. Let's dive into the details. I'm Yair Pinto, and this is your Boots on the Ground report about what is happening in Israel on this 269th day of the war against Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, and all the terror proxy groups it supports in Yemen, Iraq, and Syria. Let's start with news from the Gaza Strip, where soldiers of the 7th Armored Brigade, Division 36, and the Paratrooper Brigade succeeded in penetrating the heart of Gaza City and taking control of the command and control complex of the Hamas battalion there. A senior military official stated, "We entered Sajaiya to carry out what is defined as grass mowing." The IDF forces managed to surprise the Hamas forces and in about 40 minutes had completely overwhelmed the terrorist forces in and around the complex, recording 15 encounters with the enemy and eliminating 40 terrorists. This included about 30 anti-tank squads as other IDF forces found and collected valuable intelligence material. The operation continued on Monday morning as IDF forces continued to maneuver both above and below the ground in Hamas's underground terror network that was dug underneath the city, keeping the pressure on Hamas as they tried to regroup in that area. The IDF began operation in Gaza City at the beginning of the ground maneuver in the Gaza Strip last year, and it was believed that this area was cleared of Hamas activity several months ago. But Hamas didn't want to give up so easily, and they have been using their network of tunnels to try and infiltrate back into the heart of that area, recruit new members, and reorganize. They are also trying to restore their ability to govern the area by paying salaries to the workers, distributing food to residents, and providing other civic services. The IDF is working hard to disrupt these efforts as part of a broader plan to eliminate the ability of Hamas to operate freely in the Gaza Strip and rebuild their ability to threaten Israel in the future. The operation that began on Thursday morning is part of this effort to disrupt the plans of Hamas. It was aimed at the school complex in the Sajaiya neighborhood, which includes a clinic and is defined as a shelter compound according to recent intelligence provided by the Shin Bet. But Hamas doesn't care if a civilian area is supposed to be a shelter for non-combatants. They took over this complex and made it their new headquarters in this area, using the civilians there as human shields, just like they've done before in other areas. However, the rapid development of the IDF forces in this Hamas headquarters compound allowed them to take the terrorist forces by surprise and also led to the recovery of valuable intelligence materials. One important item that was discovered among these materials is an internal estimate by Hamas that they still have around 5,000 fighters active in the northern part of the Gaza Strip. This is despite the intense battles the IDF has fought with Hamas there for several months. These battles will continue, and this raid sends a message to other Hamas terrorists that the IDF knows everything about where they are and what they're doing, and can reach them quickly and powerfully at any time. Meanwhile, the battle also continues in the southern Gaza city of Rafah, where large numbers of tunnel entrances have been discovered by the IDF forces in the past few days. The exploration of these tunnels by the Adom Combat Engineering Unit is leading to the discovery of branching routes to other tunnels. One such tunnel proved to be around 500 meters long and passed near an UNRWA school. Therefore, today more than ever, it is important to spread the truth. So please share and follow us and subscribe to this YouTube channel. And guys, I'm constantly being asked how can I help Israel during this war? So I want to present to you an organization that really saves lives, Magen Adom. This is an organization because they are on the front lines in the south of the country and in the north. The medical volunteers are the first line. They go to the field, they are true heroes, and they face danger every day. Under the attack of rockets and fire from Hamas and Hezbollah, they strive for contact, treat the wounded under fire, and reach every wounded person everywhere in this country. Magen Adom teams go in, under fire, and help rescuers provide life-saving medical treatment to the victims. They need your help, so please consider making a financial donation to Magen Adom so that they can pay for ambulances and medical equipment, for protective gear for their people, and for equipment that will help us save lives. So support them through the links that you see on the bottom of this video and in the description. Let's switch our focus now to the northern border of Israel and the battle against the Iranian-backed Hezbollah terrorist organization. On Sunday evening, the IDF spokesman said that as a result of an explosive UAV falling in the northern Golan Heights, one IDF soldier was seriously wounded and 17 other soldiers received light to moderate injuries. These soldiers were evacuated for medical treatment at the hospital and their families were notified. In the meantime, warplanes and artillery attacked Hezbollah targets in southern Lebanon. Among the targets that were attacked was a Hezbollah observation post in the Ait el-Shayeb area. This observation post was the source of several rockets and UAVs fired into Israel, including an attack earlier on Sunday. Another important story in Lebanon is the large increase in weapons and ammunition that Iran has been observed to be sending into Hezbollah in recent weeks. This includes sophisticated anti-aircraft missiles and radars. It follows several incidents in recent months in which IDF drones have been shot down over Lebanon. In response to these incidents, the IDF attacked the launchers and units that fired the anti-aircraft missiles, and all of this is within the framework of the equations created in this war. But now, we are seeing information that Tehran is trying to transfer even more sophisticated weapons to Hezbollah, including anti-tank missiles of the Almas type. These are long-range, relatively accurate television-guided missiles that do not require the operator to be in direct line to the target. Ironically, they are a pirated version of the highly successful Spike family of guided missiles developed by Israel's Rafael Defense Company. This Israeli system has been exported to Israel's allies all over the world, and somehow Iran acquired a few which they appear to have reverse engineered and developed for themselves. Now, according to intelligence sources, they are producing these pirate copies in Iran in large numbers and smuggling them into Hezbollah to use against the IDF. However, Israel is not just standing by and watching this happen. Arab media portals have been reported in recent days that there have been a number of airstrikes targeting convoys of suspicious vehicles traveling along the border between Iraq and Syria, as well as along routes running between Syria and Lebanon. It is widely understood that these convoys contain weapons that Iran is trying to smuggle to Hezbollah, but many of these convoys of smuggled weapons and ammunition have been destroyed before reaching their destination. Hezbollah has had some successes as well. As previously mentioned, 5 IDF drones have been shot down over Lebanon since this war began, and several Israeli Air Force jets have also been fired upon. In one such incident that occurred on June 1st, an Air Force Hermes 900 UAV, Kochav, as we call them in Hebrew, was shot down with a ground-to-air missile as it was flying over southern Lebanon. While all of this is going on, Iran continues to threaten Israel with massive retaliation if it launches an attack on Hezbollah. The latest such threat came overnight between Friday and Saturday, when the Iranian delegate to the United Nations posted a message on his official X account saying, A war of extermination will develop if Israel attacks Hezbollah. The delegation noted that Tehran believes Israeli statements about being ready to attack Hezbollah are merely psychological warfare. But if this nevertheless comes to fruition, all options, including the full involvement of all resistance fronts, the militias and the Houthis, for example, are on the table. In response, the IDF noted that the Iranians and their proxies do not have a heavy and accurate offensive capability like the IDF, and certainly not the most advanced air defense systems in the world, including the Iron Dome, Magic Wand, and Arrow systems. In fact, there is a senior general at the IDF General Staff who believes that Israel made a mistake in not exacting a price from Lebanon as a country from the first moment and focusing only on Hezbollah, and that too in a limited manner, so as not to degenerate into an all-out campaign. In any case, it is important for everyone to understand that the IDF possesses capabilities that are beyond the ability of these terrorist organizations and their Iranian sponsors to even imagine. On that note, I will ask you to once again take an active part in spreading the truth. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel, and if you'd like to receive additional videos like this one, please consider making a financial donation to www.tbn.org/Israel or donate at the bottom of this YouTube channel. Back to the news, and switching our focus once again to another front in this war, and that's Judea and Samaria. On Sunday, a joint operation by the IDF and the Shin Bet resulted in a raid on an apartment in Tulkarem, north of Jerusalem. In the apartment was Said Jaber, a terrorist operative who directed plots and was involved in a series of shootings and explosive attacks against civilians and IDF forces in the area. According to Palestinian media, he was one of the leaders of the Islamic Jihad battalion in Tulkarem. Other terrorist associates of his were also in this apartment in the Nur Shams refugee camp adjacent to Tulkarem and was hit by an IDF drone strike. The apartment was used by these terrorists for operational assessments, the preparation of explosive devices, and to provide shelter to wanted persons. In the past week, these terrorists were involved in carrying out shooting attacks and attempted kidnapping attacks using explosives in the seam area between Tulkarem and nearby Israeli communities, including Bat Hefer. They also had connections with the terrorists involved in the recent attack in Kalkilia, in which the late Amnon Mukhtar was murdered. Accurate intelligence information about the apartment and who was inside was transmitted by the Shin Bet in real time. This strike is one of dozens using drones that have been carried out in Judea and Samaria by the IDF, eliminating an estimated 80 terrorists in the past year. The situation in Judea and Samaria is serious, dangerous, and alarming. The IDF and Shin Bet are tracking hundreds of terrorists, many of whom are living openly in the refugee camps without an organizational affiliation. There are large supplies of weapons and ammunition available to them, and more are being smuggled into Judea and Samaria every day. They are familiar with the area as they have lived there their entire lives and have many friends and family who are assisting them, and they are closely studying the IDF, learning and sharing lessons that were learned from other terrorists. If the IDF and Shin Bet do not go into these areas to find and eliminate these terrorists, we sometimes meet them as they carry out shooting attacks on Israeli communities like Bat Hefer or in Jerusalem or other cities in the center of Israel. It is a never-ending battle to get to them before they can get to us, and it requires using all the tools we have on our toolkit. It sometimes involves defusing explosive devices, booby traps, and mines, and sometimes it involves meeting these terrorists in face-to-face combats. In all of this, deterrence is essential, and more strongly, Israel's security forces act against the terrorists and criminal gangs in Judea and Samaria, the more calm the situation will be for the civilians, both Israelis and Palestinians. So please, keep spreading the truth. Take a minute and press the follow button and subscribe to this YouTube channel. The world needs the truth because this war is being fought on multiple fronts. We have the actual front that soldiers are fighting the terrorists in Israel. We have the front of the media and the public opinion, in which sadly Israel is losing because lies are being spread. And we have the spiritual front. And we need you to join us in prayer for the peace of Israel, for the IDF soldiers, for the civilians on both sides that are being affected by these terrorist organizations, and most importantly, join us in prayer for the peace of Jerusalem. And together, we will win.
Hello, this is Mati here in Jerusalem with TBN Israel.
This is Yair Pinto from TBN Israel here in Jerusalem. TBN Israel is keeping viewers informed with Israel-focused news, culture, and what God is doing in this land.
Support TBN Israel today online at tbn.org/Israel. Thank you.